Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Marketing Monday. I'm excited today to have my friend, Joanne Gore. How are you doing, Joanne? And welcome to the show.
Hi, Ira. I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super psyched. And I've got some caffeine in me, so I don't know if that's a good thing or bad.
And now you know what's in my headphones as I'm rocking them.
There you go. Right? I love it.
I'm trying to step up my production value game. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to have you here. You and I are friends. We've got a lot in common, which we're gonna dive into over the next 60 minutes or so. Do you have a hard stop in? You're East Coast, right? So 3 o'clock? No, or 4 o'clock.
Good.
Okay, good. So just so everybody knows, in full disclosure, we're probably gonna go overtime.
As long as I'm done by 4 o'clock.
I'll get you done as fast as I can. And I might have to have you back on for a second episode. Anyhow. So it is what it is. All right. So let's do this. For those of you who, well, actually, let me do this. Let me set the, are you on Clubhouse? Clubhouse, they've got this expression called set the room. And I thought, you know what, let me tell everybody what the show is about so that if you're watching for the first time or if you've not seen it in a while, you understand what Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman is all about. Basically, we talk about all things marketing related. Now, sometimes that's just point of order clarification. What is like the difference between sales, advertising, marketing? Because a lot of people have that like blurred, and they do work together. They should work together. Sometimes
they must work together.
If they don't, that's part of the problem, right? Okay, so there is synergies for sure. But then I bring in guests each and every week, and usually my guests have different specialties because marketing is there's a wide array of marketing, and I do marketing with Bowman Digital Media, but I don't do everything, and I'm not an expert certainly at probably any of it, honestly. But you know, I do my best.
Don't tell anybody.
Right, don't let the secret out, right? So, but I bring guests on because it brings another perspective, a point of view. We're in different markets. Like you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. You know what I mean? And you and I have a common background. Not to tease too far in advance, but we have a print history background, so that's cool. But a lot of my guests, in fact, I think you're the first one who does. If I'm just kind of going back through my mind.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just like to share a whole bunch. A lot of people, this is what I think. If people understood marketing better, like actually understood it, the world would be a better place. That's the premise.
Amen.
That's the premise. That's the premise of the show. Now, if you're in the audience, we would love to know where you're from. Okay, I'm from Los Angeles. Joanne, where are you coming to me from?
I am just north of Toronto, born in Montreal, in Canada.
Hey,
I knew that was coming.
Right. I had to do it. So where are you? Now I'm talking to you, audience. Where are you from? Right? Are you watching us from India, from Africa, from Dubai, from London, from Germany, from Spain, from Albuquerque, New Mexico, from up in the Golden Gate, San Francisco area, from Las Vegas, Nevada, New York City, Chicago? Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you have a marketing question, feel free. We will try to address the questions that come in, I'm going to try to do first in, first out, which is FIFO. So if you're familiar with FIFO, that's what I try to honor that. So if you already know a question for Joanne or for myself, typically, Joanne, the way I do it is questions. I always do guest first. And then like, if you don't totally knock it out of the park, or if I have a different perspective, I might throw a little bit in there, but you are the superstar of the show today, my friend. So all that being said, ooh, we got somebody from Montreal. Check that out.
There you go.
Warren comes to Win-Win Networking on Tuesday sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's how I know Warren. So welcome. And I hope you can make it tomorrow, Warren. We would love to see you there. Okay, let's see this. How to earn on YouTube. What the comments do. How to create a funnel. What are the best websites to use to create a funnel? You know, Zara, that's a great question. Let's table that for just a second. Zara, hang on. Because we'll come back to YouTube. I actually have a client that hired me just for those things. So I could talk to you about how I'm doing it. But Joanne, I'd love to get your perspective too, if that's something that you offer, or something that you want to give some perspective on. Again, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to get. It's phenomenal. So we will get there. I got somebody saying, hello, Mohammed. Welcome. Where are you coming to us from? And Zahara, by the way, is from the UK. That's one of the things I love about my network. They're everywhere. And by the way,
I love it.
Joanne, and you might not know this, but you're going to be featured on my website and on my podcast. I have a audio version of this on Spotify and Anchor. And then I also put the transcript for all of you who are interested. Maybe you don't want to watch back through the video, but you want to, like, let's say, for example, Zara, and I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. If you want to take the advice that we give you for the YouTube, I actually put the translations. So I have the audio converted to text, and I post those as blogs every week on my website too. So you'll be all over the place, Joanne, and I'll help you give you an active backlink and all that stuff to your website. So
that's awesome. What tool do you use for all that? I'm just curious.
So for the translations, I use Otter AI.
That's what I just started using.
It's an amazing tool. You know, it does pretty good. None of them are perfect. Frankly, I used to use YouTube. I used to be able to do that in the YouTube.
Oh, really?
Studio services for the closed captions. They used to have that option. So I used to use that, but they took it away when they updated their stuff, which was a bummer for me because I liked it. But anyways, now I use Otter. I don't know. It's like $8 a month or something.
Yeah, it's totally affordable. It was like $100 for the year or something.
Yeah,
it was like a no-brainer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that was that first level. They have other levels too, I guess, but I've never even come close to using all my time. So
I just like it because sorry, we'll get you started and then we'll ramble.
No, we're actually, what I want to do, I want people to know who you are. So while you talk, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm actually gonna pull up your LinkedIn profile.
Sure.
Okay, so oops, I gotta switch it over. I had my music up. Okay. Full disclosure, I'm not a professional podcaster. I just play one on TV. Here we go. All right. So if you don't know Joanne, first thing I want to say is find her on LinkedIn. In fact, check this out. One day back in Philly, this is me trying to be Will Smith here. Where am I? All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself. And now I have your link on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn for people to connect with you. Okay. So if you guys, and just, you can click on the links, whichever platform you're watching from. And we do broadcast live from all three. If you're trying to find us on Facebook, we're on Bowman Digital Media channel, business page. On YouTube, it's Ira Bowman Project Help You Grow. You can find it. And anyways, LinkedIn, you guys know where I'm at. So connect with Joanne. Joanne, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the B2B marketer who's passionate about print.
So, well, you just said it in a nutshell. I'm a B2B marketer who's passionate about print. I got my start as a graphic designer way back before there was anything digital, any computers, anything. And I transitioned into the corporate world about 8 or 10 years in, working for a software company as their print production manager. And I was in charge of all of the setting up all of the UK, all of the structures, all of making sure everything, all the standards. So I lost my words there for a second. So I was busy running around between basically San Jose. Yeah. So they were the makers of WinFax Pro. And if that was the very first time that you were able to fax from a computer.
Did you say San Jose?
Yeah.
You lived in San Jose, or you just
No, I just spend a lot of time there because that's where the offices are.
So you don't know this, but that's half of where I grew up. I bounced back and forth my childhood between Vegas and San Jose.
Oh, wow.
So I went to San Jose State, just for full disclosure. So there you go. Silicon Valley.
There you go.
Unite.
So yeah, so started off there, and then once I sort of
look at all these marketing.
It's the who's who of tech.
Marketing.
I'm telling you.
All right. The reason why I like to do this, Joanne, just so you know, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but I like people to realize, like, you know, the people I bring in have a lot of experience. So when you say something, it gives credence to what you're saying. That's really the idea.
So yeah, so based on, again, what you're saying, you know, I've worked for primarily software and tech companies for well over 25 years. And let's just leave it at well over.
And that's a pretty neat trick, because Joanne is only 27 years old.
There you go. So. I just turned 29 last week.
There you go. My wife has been 29 years old for over 20 years now.
There you go.
Wait a minute.
Works for me.
I might have did my math a little wrong there. She's going to come smack me. You know, my wife and I share an office, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why this is here is because behind me is a wall of shelving, and it has all the Scentsy stuff. And my wife sits over here. She's not in here at the moment, but she's constantly like pumping in, and you know what I mean? Because
I can only imagine.
I'm kind of an idiot, just so you know. Anyways.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Okay. So going back, so worked in corporate, on the corporate side as, again, started off as production coordinator, manager.
You got a brand new connection request right
Yes.
And that's the one. Zara's the one who asked great questions about YouTube. We are going to come back to Zara.
Cool. I can't wait to connect, Zara. So back to corporate marketing, software technology. So basically what that allowed me to do was, one, learn way more about tech than probably anybody would ever want to know. And two, it gave me really great insights, because what do tech companies do? They go after key verticals: financial services, technology, government, utilities, telco, all of those core vertical markets. Over the course of my career, I've had to market to. I've had to learn what makes them tick.
I learned more about vertical market and vertical market research as a professional than I did in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, all the marketing courses that I took, all the business classes that I took, like, I had a good foundation, but the tech industry taught me how to do real research. And that's actually what brought me to LinkedIn. You know, I didn't come to LinkedIn to be some influencer or whatever, which I don't even like. I don't like when people call me that. I don't think that I am one. But I came here for research purposes. I wanted to learn everything I could about the people in vertical markets, so that when I went to have a conversation with them, I was intelligent, or at least about that.
Yeah, exactly. So fast forward to today, and yes, having all that vertical market expertise is really, really important, but also being able to have conversations with other human beings is equally important. And when you combine that, having a real conversation with really understanding where they're coming from a work perspective, like what's really bugging them, despite whatever we are talking about, changes the perspective and changes the narrative and changes the story.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I've been really fortunate throughout the course of my career to have worked with some really, really smart and some not so smart people, but I've learned from them all. And
win or learn, right? Win or learn.
So when I decided to go out on my own, it was because.
When did you do that? How long has Joanne Gore been around?
So I've always been around in some form or fashion for, again, 25 plus years. I re-entered the solopreneurship market about 7, 8 years ago.
So it's been a while. It hasn't been because of COVID or anything.
No. I was me, myself, and I.
That's one of the things where we're different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've been living the COVID life for a long time. So I
Living
was
via
basically.
COVID. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a dork, if you didn't already know.
No. Hey, again, I've lived in the tech world, so my life is. Have you seen the show Silicon Valley?
I have not. So one thing about me that everybody needs to know if they don't is I watch very, very, very little TV. In
Okay.
fact, I probably wouldn't own a TV anymore if it wasn't for my family.
Well, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? There's some merit to that. So you've heard of the Big Bang Theory, yeah?
I've heard of it. Have not watched it, but I have heard of it.
So Silicon Valley is basically the Big Bang Theory in real life. It really is Silicon Valley startups, what it's like to work with tech people. And yes, they inflate the personas, but really that's what it's like. And I've lived this life for, again, several decades.
So
I can work with geeks and nerds and techies, and
it's a different environment.
It's a different language. It's a different mindset, but I can work with them, and I have had to. So
that I've lived and worked in Austin and San Jose. Okay, I've been in. If you name a tech company in the world that's in the United States, that's either in Palo Alto or San Francisco or San Jose Cupertino, in the East Bay. I mean, I've been in all of them. I've worked with most of them.
Have you ever worked at Compaq? Because they were out of Houston. So I was at Compaq also.
Yeah. So I lived in a place called New Braunfels, Texas, and every other day I would go to either Austin or San Antonio for that company. And anyways, yeah. So like the Apple campus, I was working with Apple as a vendor before that campus was built in Cupertino. Like I remember when they built it. I used to sell them welding rod sticks of all things for a little company I ran called Arc Welding, but that was a long time ago. Anyways, I could tell you that every one of them is a little bit different. Like there's a lot of things they have in common. The geeks are the geeks, you know what I mean? But the dress codes and
the foosball tables and whatever it is, the snacks, all of it. It's all whatever you hear or read. It is all true. It is that crazy.
Well, do you remember the .com area where, I mean, it was like anybody with an idea and they were instantly billionaires?
I worked for an incubator.
Yeah, crazy.
So when you go through my LinkedIn, Brightspark was when I worked for an incubator and we launched a lot of companies. So for those who don't know, an incubator is basically where you would go. They would provide you with funding and they would have marketing, sales, finance, and you could leverage all the resources, and we basically become your agency until you are ready to spread your wings, fly away, and either be acquired, go public. Those were usually the two at the time. Those were the two exit strategies: be acquired or go public. And our goal was to make that happen in under 6 months.
Oh yeah, well that's good. That's a rapid rate. Well, some of those things, I mean, it was amazing how fast they took off. But I was working at a company called Fatbrain.com. Do you remember them?
No.
So they were originally called computerliteracy.com, but that was that name was dry and boring and nobody really got it. But what they were doing is they basically were selling, again, we're going to date ourselves, but this is back in the day when you used to like actually read books and program the programs yourself, you know, way back when, C++, all that stuff.
Do you remember punch cards?
Exactly. So in this website company that I worked for, Fatbrain, it was a very sterile environment. Like you would have thought it was like a bank. It was not the norm, but I've seen like super uptight, and then I've been on some of them where like anything goes. And you're like, do you guys ever do any actual work? You know what I mean? So I've seen like the party extremes. Hey, we got Bernie on. Bernie was on last week. Hey, Bernie Ferguson. He he was on. He's bald like me, so we started out doing this, and then he did a picture to promote the show, and he did the same thing. So anyways, I'm calling us the Bald Brothers. Anyhow.
Hey, well, there you go to get Warren on, and then you're the triplets.
Right. Let's do this. I'm going to pull up your website.
Sure.
And I just want you, if you will, give us a little tour. Tell me where to go. I'll drive it. You tell me where to go. And I just want to, like, I want people to know what you do, so now they have a good idea. Like, you have a ton of experience. Like I said, it's a neat trick to be 25 years plus in when you're 27 years old. And anyways, so tell us where to go. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so basically, everything we do is to help B2B marketers just breathe a little easier, and help companies stretch their dollars. And you know, again, after so many years of doing this, there's a lot that I bring to the table. Again, to your point, I'm not an expert in everything. However, I have definitely worked with a lot of the experts. So our company is a virtual marketing team. Everybody I work with has 10 plus years of B2B marketing experience, and I have worked with them throughout the course of my career. So
they're pre-vetted, and
exactly. And you know, I have my core group of people. Of course, I'm always looking for potential new folks to add to the roster, depending on the project or program that comes in. And what I try to do is match the team to the client based on what their goals are. So for some clients, we may be doing completely overhauling their messaging because they're at a point where they realize what they were selling 3 or 5 years ago is just not flying today, especially today. So it requires, you know, a refreshed approach to, you know, you'll hear me say it time and time again, understanding who you help, how you help, and why it matters. If I can help companies really figure that out, then the heavy lifting is done. And that's where so many companies struggle. It's really easy to say, this is what we do and this is how we do it. But it's really hard to say, this is who we help and this is how.
Yeah.
And more importantly, why it matters. So whether it's comprehensive messaging, you know, I've got journalists, I've got PhDs, you know, people who have studied everything from augmented realities to gaming to you name it. But on the flip side, sometimes I'm brought in to help with social media. So somebody needs to, you know, their corporate profile needs help. So that requires a different skill set. Yeah. And again, the team is assembled based on what's required. So we look at the vertical market. We look at who you think you help.
Here's your team.
And then, that's sort of the core folks that I work with. And of course, there's a whole bunch others. Sydney helps with doing all of our analytics, SEO, keyword research, hashtag research. Stephen, I actually went to school with him. That's how long we go back in Montreal. So Braden is our customer liaison, and he is kick-ass when it comes to doing research. Like, he will find the incredible research. Dan does not like his picture shown.
I was gonna say, this guy looks familiar. I've seen him before.
He's a shy guy.
Yeah, introvert. It happens.
Exactly. Phil, so a lot of folks know her in Canada. She's been the editor-in-chief for a few Canadian publications. So she really knows the print industry really well. She's also really good at just lasering in on what matters to the media. And because that's that relationship. Tanya is great. She's going for her PhD in communications. So again, slightly different angle. So if we're talking about customer communications, transaction, that's a whole other world that I play in as well when I wear sort of my explorer hat. That's a different
a PR versus a blog kind of a difference. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's also the difference between the type of solution you deliver. If we take the print industry, for example, you know, there are printers who have small shops. Some people might think of printers as just like a small copy shop, but there are also huge organizations that service everything from government institutions to universities to associations. And then there's those who target specifically transactions. So if you produce highly confidential, highly regulated communications, so your statements, your bills, your invoices, your credit cards, all of that stuff. And if you think about the data and the information that goes into creating a bank statement or an invoice, you can, did you go through the blog section? There's a whole bunch of different topics, and I'll tell you why I point people there.
I'm going to hang on for just 1 second. I'm just typing. I'm putting the link in the comments.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that way, I should have done this earlier. Sorry.
That's
That way,
okay.
people want to like find you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
There. So you can go to the LinkedIn and then click on that link, and then you guys can join us. So we're going to go to the blog page now.
Yep.
And there it is. Okay, hang on. Let me, because it's kind of in the way. There we go. All right.
So what I like to do with the blogs is they're twofold. One is they help educate and inform.
Yeah.
But I also really encourage marketers, printers, agencies who need help convincing their clients, well, why would you need direct mail? Why should you consider augmented reality?
Yeah.
I've written so much about why print matters. So I say, if there's stuff in here that will help you sell to your customers, take it, use it, share it.
Yeah.
Please credit me. please credit where it came from.
I'm the same way on my website. It's the same idea, Joanne. It's like you almost feel like you're giving away all the secret sauce, but it's like people have to understand how this all works. Otherwise, they're not going to want to invest in it. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to tell you why it works. And then if other people steal my ideas, they do. But I mean, I don't think any of this is rocket science, at least not on mine. I haven't read your articles. So. But I do love the idea here because it does help to obviously cement you as a thought leader. You know what I mean? It's like you're not just playing at marketing here.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so many different facets that sometimes I just don't even know what to write about because there's so much that I can write about, and I really have to focus in on, okay, what do I think people are interested in hearing about now? And
let's talk about this too, because I write blogs all the time. And it seems like more and more we have to make them bite-sized. So they're not even blogs really anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's a thought that would have been part of a bigger blog to show you how it all comes together. But because your attention span is shorter, I have to like just give you the bite. Are you finding that to be a problem when you're writing too, or am I just Gabby?
So here's a few things. So one, on that whole attention span, I do agree, and I feature it heavily, like blink and they're gone. You have less than 5 seconds to capture somebody's attention, especially on your website. And that's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down. But once you have their attention,
look how many
they're staying longer.
Yeah. Right? No, I agree with that. Like if you can catch them, then they're good.
Exactly.
I love how many blog articles you have. Do you have any idea how many are on your site?
God, no.
A lot.
Well, because I write for other publications as well. So whatever I write ends up on here too.
We're all going to have to come and check this out. But if you're interested in marketing, your answers are going to be here. I mean, right?
Pretty much.
That's what I'm telling people.
The one that's up on the screen, how to optimize your personal brand and get hired. That's one that I'm proud of. It tends to get a lot of good love whenever I share. I just shared it, I think, again last week. I try not to reshare too much of the same content, but definitely when I know that it is a post that is relevant to folks, and it's the beginning of the year and there's lots of change and turmoil going on. So folks are thinking about their careers, whether it's changing career for whatever reason, or just starting careers, or for whatever reason you need help on setting your personal brand, because that's a big thing right now. Brand. I think we've started like at least 10 conversations so far today, Ira, and I don't know if we finished any of them. But to me, brand honestly, is
that's going. How this show goes. This show goes like this every single time because it's almost impossible, right? Yeah. That's what I try to tell people. They're like, "What is marketing?" They don't even know what it is. And then when we start getting into it, it's like you don't understand the can of that you just opened. I mean, it is vast.
Oh, so, I know.
Let's do this. Let's circle back to Zara's question, just because I want to. And Bernie's laughing at us because he knows. Being in my mind is welcome to the crazy world of Ira's mind. But all right. So Zara asked us a question way up at the beginning. She is super awesome. So she wants to talk about YouTube. Okay. We're on YouTube right now. So
Hi,
one of
YouTubers.
the things I'll tell you about YouTube to build your YouTube channel, and I have 7,100 followers on YouTube, subscribers they call them. So it's a decent audience, right? One of the reasons why people subscribe to me is because I put up content on a regular basis. I think I did 3 videos in the last 24 hours. Okay. So give them something to consume. Otherwise, why are they coming back? And it's the same with websites, by the way. Talk about blogs. That's one of the reasons why we do blogs, not only to establish our authority and to help our keywords and all the technical stuff that we're doing, but one of it is because if you've already consumed our website before, we want to give you a reason to come back next time and new content.
And that's why that subscribe button is so important right now. In fact, I'm a bad marketer. Okay. Shh, don't tell anybody.
No, you're like the cobbler's kid with the shoes, right? Everybody.
Exactly. In fact, that was actually my very first post. The cobbler was a cobbler post. My very first post, if you scroll all the way down, it's a big orange Converse running shoe. Anyway,
you do that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bring it up.
Wait, how did we get here now? I don't even remember what we
were
talking about.
You're talking about YouTube content.
Yes. So and I said I'm a bad marketer because I only just added a subscribe button.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why it took me so long. And why it took me so long to and this is important for everybody out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody can have a subscribe button. The reason I didn't originally have one on my website was because I did not want to commit to a monthly newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't want to put myself in a position where I would let anybody down because I didn't have a monthly newsletter.
Now,
so I didn't put subscribe.
You launched Joanne Gore Communications, right? Okay. So you launched that site because you said you've been doing it 7 or 8 years, but
right.
So when you launched it, you're talking about it at that point, not like last year.
From then till now. So I launched. So going back to how this all started, I was me, myself, and I got rehired out of my own business, closed up shop to work for a software company in the print industry, right? My nirvana.
So now you're W2. Yeah.
They got acquired and I went, never again. Joanne Gore Communications, your virtual B2B marketing agency, was born.
Okay.
2 years ago. Okay. A year ago, I incorporated.
Okay. So, but you've been,
But I've been doing the dance for many, many years, just different things. But I've never had a subscribe button.
But your blog frequency has been what on average?
At least, well, I must produce one monthly for Graphic Arts Magazine. Okay. So at the very least,
now you're obligated.
I must do one.
So why not add the subscribe button when you did that? I mean, now you're going to have
because I didn't know because I didn't have an RSS feed. So and setting all that up was too complicated.
Yeah.
But then it dawned on me, people can subscribe without it being a newsletter. They're subscribing because they want to know when there's new information coming. So once I know that they're subscribing, I can send out communications. I can send out, hey, this is my latest blog, check it out. I'm not married to a set schedule. And once that light went off in my head that just because you have a subscribe button doesn't mean you're committing to producing content for all these people. And now I have to segment it. And it was just too much for my head. Yeah. I do it for all my clients, but for myself, it's a whole other world, right?
I totally get it.
So, because when I do it, I want to do best practices. I want them doing it. I'm doing it right, or I don't do it. That's the perfectionist. That's the perfectionist procrastinator in me. So when I put up that subscribe button, it was like, the light went on when I realized people can subscribe doesn't mean it's a newsletter. And it actually prompted a whole article that I wrote that's going to be coming out in a couple months. But that'll be the blog. That'll be the March blog for Graphic Arts Magazine.
There you go.
So that's what tends to happen.
Okay. So the value of the subscribe button is, go ahead.
If somebody subscribes to Joanne Gore Communications, the value is that you will be notified when there's something interesting that's going on, whether it's market, industry,
I'm sorry,
news. Oh, sorry.
Let me rephrase this.
Yes, please.
So I'm trying to teach people marketing.
Yes.
Yeah, we get it. You hit.
Oh, why? Oh, to build up your database. I mean, that's the real reason.
Hello, people.
That's the real reason.
We want your data.
That's the reason. It's
Yeah.
all about the data. It's all the more information. Like it goes back to what I said when I was talking about the transactional world.
Yeah.
Think about all of the information that's on your credit card, every single data point that these people have and know about you, and that's the data that's used to market your likes. Now, that's consumer marketing. From a business perspective, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
And you want to get to know people. Well, how do you get to know them? By having conversations. The folks who subscribe to my content are folks who I believe are interested in what I have to say, or about the industry, or about the market, or who knows what.
Well, and like for me at Bowman Digital Media, if you hit a subscribe on my site, that lets me know that there's at least some interest in what I do. So I can then reach out to you in a variety of ways and see if we can work together on any projects, right? If I could be a potential basically vendor for you down the road, which is what I'm looking for. And if not, maybe you can refer other people to me, because almost every single business client that I have it was a referral, not somebody who found me blindly. In fact, I don't know that I have any like that. I had done my deal with Google Ads, and I was getting conversions and stuff, but I wasn't getting business from it. So I frankly just turned it off. I'm like, I'm going to use my money in other ways, because I'm still a startup. So I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want to do. Even though it's funny, because I manage other Google campaigns for my clients and they love what I'm doing. For me, it wasn't working. So
exactly the same.
So that is a difference, though, between having the subscribe button or a contact form if you don't want to do the subscribe button on your site, and like a subscribe button on a YouTube. And I'm trying to draw this all back to YouTube because that's the question here. But subscribers on your website, that's like gold. That is gold. The gold. Okay. So how to earn on YouTube? First of all, you have to create a channel. The bare minimums are 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. A lot of people focus on the subscribers. They don't pay attention to the watch hours. They get that 1,000 and they have 900 watch hours. And they go, what do I do? Remember what I said at the beginning, content. You have to have content. And if all your contents are like 30-second videos, 45-second videos, a minute long videos, you're going to have trouble reaching the hours. So explainer videos or any type of a show like this where you have some longevity, I try to tell people to run a show or a video on LinkedIn to try to make it at least 15 minutes. It's not great for social media, but it's better for your YouTube channel. So there's some of the differences, like we were talking about press releases versus blog writing. There's different styles and methodologies that go into this if you really want to earn money. I had, of all places, my church. I work in the video and sound booth at church. The guy that runs the soundboard when I'm running the video, his son wants to be a YouTuber, right? These kids are growing up with the aspiration of being YouTube stars.
Sure.
Famous. Okay.
Personal branding.
Yeah. So he goes, Ira, what can I do to help my son fulfill his dream? And I said, well, what is he good at? And then I said, is he funny? Right? Because this is a difference, and we can go down this if people want, but just take it from an ugly dude. His kid is a boy. He's not, going to be a supermodel. You know what I'm saying? Like there are different avenues that people can pursue, but some of those avenues are not available to this dorky looking kid. And I don't mean to pick on him because I'm a dorky looking kid myself. Okay, so I get it. But I said, look, I've always been able to win people over with humor. It bails me out of a lot of otherwise awkward situations, because I say stuff sometimes and people go, I don't even get it, but all right. But he's trying to be funny, so we'll give him a sympathy laugh, whatever, right? But so I said, if he's good at video games and he's funny, why don't you have him host a video game channel about his favorite game and teach people how to play the game, show them where secret stuff is, they can unlock this level. But I don't know. I'm not a video game guy. Right. Sure. But I know that there are video game people out there who have millions of followers and do it. So I said he could do that. So the reason he needed to have a genre, you got to pick a topic. You know what I mean? Like, what's your channel going to be about? And then you've got to make content, and you've got to be in it. You've got to be believable. You've got to be knowledgeable. So it's got to be something I think that, you have to be really interested in. So those are some of my tips. Again, show lengths, 15 minutes or more, regular content, get on some, just like a blog. You don't have to commit to every Monday at, 5:00, but you do have to put out, consistent content. And then, I don't know if I want to get into the SEO part of it, but there are some things with the setup that you can do with tags and with links and things like that to help build your, if you're going to have a corresponding, which most people do, corresponding website with setting up that stuff. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to let you talk now and fill in any holes that you think I might have left there. There's more. I mean, I could coach them. Like I said, people are paying me right now to help them build their YouTube channels and followings for that purpose. But those are some of the free tips I can give.
So of all of the platforms, YouTube is one of, well, we won't talk about TikTok, but YouTube is one of those that I'm just learning.
Okay.
So I have a YouTube channel. I ran a series this summer called Shoot the Shit with Joanne. I call it a series of not so polite conversations with
the nitty gritty.
Yeah. And they were about an hour long. Each one touched on 3 core topics for the most part. And at the time that I did it, I put no more thought into it other than I want to have conversations with a bunch of people and ask them business related questions. It was in the summer. It was just like the heart of COVID, where really nobody knew what was going on. And I made sure that I asked everybody the same question, so there was a common thread through every episode. The question was, how have business conversations changed over the last 2 weeks? So it didn't really matter when I asked the question, who I asked the question. It was always a slightly different answer.
Yeah.
But we always touched on different themes depending on who I was talking to. And it was just, it really started off as I was having this conversation with Pat McGrew, who's an industry leader when it comes to workflow in the print world.
Yeah.
And as I got off the phone, I thought to myself, wow, I can't even imagine how many people would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to this conversation, because it was just like it was like that Vulcan mind meld, and it was just an amazing conversation. And honest to God, that's how it started. I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna have these phone conversations.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to what it's like to have a conversation with me, and this is what we're talking about, and I've taught, again, folks from many from the print industry, software, hardware, printer, like all different people. And it was fun, and I'm going to do it again. But that was sort of me learning how to post videos, what I need to do. I still, it's a bit of a crapshoot for me. I do know that keywords matter.
Yeah.
Knowing what to hashtag, what to keyword, you have to include links in your descriptions. You have to remind people to subscribe. It's not that different from LinkedIn, where you have to remind people to comment or to like or to share. So depending on the platform you're on, and more importantly, is that the platform where the people you want to have conversations with are? Because if they're not on YouTube, then why are you spending your time on YouTube?
Yeah. So one of the hard questions to ask yourself before you even get started is, how much competition is in that space, and how much interest is there in that topic? Okay. Because you have to have a niche. What makes you different? For example, and this is an interesting follow-up, she's giving us a little bit more details. So her son does video games and he makes his own too. He even teaches 15-year-olds how to program. See, that's interesting.
He's only 9.
Yeah. Super smart. But it doesn't matter if he was 9 or 89. Okay. Here's the thing I'm going to say. Teaching people to program is one of those things that's a whole different niche. And there's a lot of people who would be interested in that, especially if he can infuse humor and some fun graphics. I will tell you, and it's something I haven't mentioned yet, because again, I try to not give away everything always to everybody. But part of this, you may notice my shows all have themes. They all have standalone graphics, standalone music. That builds up branding. And we're not really talking about branding in this marketing episode, but although we could.
Oh, branding is hot.
Right. Now, but that's what I'm talking about. So you start adding, you notice on my shows, in fact, I'm going to remove this comment just so you can see it. What do you see at the top and the bottom of the screen? You see an overlay, a graphic overlay. You never have to guess what the show is or what it's about, right? So, Zara's son programming, Zara's son video game tours, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to say that, but he's going to have his own name, but you get it, right? Show title, host. You might, if you're going to do it on a weekly schedule, like some of my, like this one, I could have put on there, Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. I could have done that. I didn't think I needed to, but you know what I mean? I've got branding. I've got my logo on there. How many times? 12 times. In case you guys.
What's your shirt?
Well, yeah, and then it's on everything, and I probably overbrand. But anyways, but you get it. So totally. the graphics matter. It's got to be visually interesting. You got to have the sound effects or something. And also, and this is something a lot of people haven't caught on to, but I'm really surprised. Segments. One of the things I always do, and I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I always ask you, tell me where you're coming from. Where are you watching from? I want to know. But also, I have noticed that people like to see their name up on the screen. So when you share it, that's why I display it. Now I'm engaging with you, and that helps to build a rapport. These are all tricks. Again, I mean, I can coach for hours on this one-on-one, or people pay me to help them just do it. But YouTube, it's the second largest search engine in the world.
I know, it's crazy. And it's only exploded now because we're all stuck at home.
And here's the thing. If you think about Google owns YouTube, they own the number 1 and the number 2 search engines in the world, and nobody's close. A lot of people, it used to be Yahoo. People would think it was Bing, any of them. No, it's YouTube. Why? And think about what they're searching for. Most of the people are searching for how-to videos. So when you're coming up with your channel, if you're in development stage, one of the things I would have you think about, and it's something I didn't do. I put up all kinds of videos. I have my shows. I have client videos. I have my own stuff. Like, if you want to learn how to increase your SEO value, build your social media audience. I mean, I have all kinds of stuff because my mind, you've seen it, right? My mind is everywhere. So there it is. And that's my YouTube channel. If I would hone it in and lock it down, I would actually have more subscribers, but I don't care about putting up ads, frankly. I'm not trying to monetize YouTube.
Yeah, see, and I'm not in it for that either. I'm in it for having my content on as many different types of channels as possible in as many different forms as possible. I firmly believe that whenever you are creating content of any sort, you need to be able to repurpose it at least 3 other ways for it to be of any value. So if you're writing a blog, going back to that question you asked about the length of blogs, the reality is you can have a blog that's 750 words, 5 to 750 average length of a blog, but you can then take that blog and you can create what I call a long form post on LinkedIn, which is almost like, let's say 350 words. You can create a short form post, or you can create what I call a micro post, which also doubles for Instagram, where it's really just 1 or 2 sentences that's very hashtag heavy. Same theme, same call to action, same target audience, potentially. Go to ideally the same landing page, because the whole goal of all of it is to figure out to get the right people engaging with you. And the only way you know that is when they raise their hand and give you their information.
YouTube. When you write a blog, did you know you just wrote a script?
Why do you think I invested in Otter?
You make a video out of it. And it doesn't even have to be verbatim. Some of my best posts on LinkedIn have been some of my worst videos. Some of my best videos have been some of my worst posts as far as performance goes.
Oh, for sure.
But the fact is, some people only read blogs. They don't watch videos. My wife, God love her, never watches any of my videos, ever. Not even the one she's in. She'd give me a stink eye right now. Anyways, it's true. If I want to see her on LinkedIn, I got to go to my friend's posts. So I can see her on everybody's post but mine. But anyhow, some people are like that, though. You know what I mean? They don't consume everything.
We don't
consume. You're talking about your target audience on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. The fact is, you might have some on all of them,
or Instagram or TikTok or wherever else they happen to be.
Yeah,
so and you don't always know.
If you present that idea 7 different ways, but it's the same, you know what I mean? So you just make it work lighter because you don't have to keep creating new ideas. You could just repackage it. I've been doing that for my clients for the last 6 months. I mean,
and one of the easiest, best, most ROI driven ways to do that is literally have a conversation with your customers and go and say to them, how have I helped you? How have our solutions helped you? At the very least, you'll get a testimonial. At the very most, you'll get a case study. You might get a press release out of it. You might get a video testimonial out of it. That's 4 things now.
All because you can get a backlink from them too sometimes. You know, like if they're going to do a case study, they're probably going to want to post it on their own website too.
Right. So now, so you've got the core pieces of content, but then take each of those and then they become sub-content of all the different posts on all the different channels. It's all starting from asking one question. So again, when you talk about stretching marketing dollars, it's not about doing 20 different things. It's doing one thing 20 different ways.
It's a campaign. So I try to tell people we're on the same. We're on
Vulcan. Can you do the Vulcan thing?
I used to. Let's see. I kind of got it with this hand. This one,
not so much.
I worked really hard. Oh, I got it. Oh, that was a lot of effort. It's been a while. It's been a while. And that was Nanu. Thank you very much. All right.
Mork and Mindy all the way.
Come on. I love it. Ron Williams was the best, the funniest dude ever.
Oh, man.
But think of whatever the core idea is the root. And then the rest of it's the tree. And you have a proclivity probably to, a blog or a video or a post. But really, if you have a good idea, solid idea, and you have the expertise to develop it, you have all of it. The script. I get a lot of people that go like, I want to do a video. I need to do a video, but I don't know what to do a video about. I'm like, I can help you brainstorm a video in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not hard at all. All you got to do is figure out what they're passionate about or what's new, like you said. So my question on the show, and I'm about to ask it to you, so start to think about this.
Okay.
We're going to tease the question.
Questions always throw me.
This is a good one. This is a good one. Marketing challenge that you see people are struggling with currently. You know what I mean? And it's been interesting because I haven't had the same answer twice. Even though most people have talked something about COVID, which is, just a reality of where we are. But the challenges that have happened, for me, I'm an outside business to business sales rep. Been doing it for 2+ decades. And then all of a sudden, couldn't do that anymore. Marketing challenge. Hello. How do I build that water cooler rapport with people? I call it the aw shucks sales approach. How do I do the aw shucks sales approach with people when I can't go to their office because they don't feel comfortable even if I'm wearing a mask? And that's really the reality that we all ran into. So I've asked that 8 times. I've got 8 different answers. I'm going to give you a chance to think about that as we finish off this topic, which is really don't worry so much about the delivery vehicle as much as you worry about just making sure that idea is rock solid. If that idea is rock solid, you can support it everywhere. And you could get 10 or 12 posts out of, if you write a blog that's 2,500 words, and that's what I mean by Gabby. I write way too long crap. Nobody wants to read it.
I know who to call when I need long form content.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. In college, they always had the minimums. Okay, the paper has to be, 10,000 words or 3,000 words or whatever. I never worried about that. I always asked the opposite. What's the limit?
Yeah.
Because, the editing part.
It's hard to edit down sometimes.
Yeah, because you want to throw in everything and you can't. So now sometimes I'll do series. I'll do blog series.
Yep.
And so, I did one actually. I wrote a whole blog on LinkedIn profile and cover photos, how to set it up. And you would think, like, who needs that? Everybody knows how to do that. I'm like, what's funny? A lot of people don't have any idea. They throw up a picture.
I actually talk about that in that personal branding article. I
Yeah.
talk about your headshot for now. Granted, I'm just saying it was written before COVID, so some of the suggestions may not be viable today. But my number one suggestion, whenever people ask where can I get a great headshot that's not going to cost me a fortune, I always say go to Costco to their passport pictures, because they don't have to take it for a passport, but they have the lighting, they have the setup. You can go wearing whatever you want. If you really want to change your shirt. It's going to cost you maybe $30. Maybe. Most Costco's are what, like $6? Again, this was pre-COVID, but that's one of the ways to get a decent.
I do photography sessions. Photography sessions for me start at $250. So there's your.
There you go.
There's your value of going to the Costco, and there's Costco everywhere.
So to answer your question,
I
don't even remember what it was anyway. I mean, I remember what my answer was, but I don't really remember what the question was.
No, that's okay. So I'll rephrase it. I'll summarize it. So what you see, the biggest challenge, marketing related, that you're noticing people are experiencing, right now?
Social selling.
Yeah.
Is really knowing how to use specifically LinkedIn, if you're talking B2B, how to use it.
I know how to do it. I get an animated program and I just run through all their animated messages and I bombard you every 25 seconds with something that you've all have already read 15,000 times from other people. That's how you social sell, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm going to ask you a question before I go into my social selling
go ahead.
Rabbit hole.
I like it.
Who do you think needs the most help today?
We're talking about like a vertical, or we're talking about a role?
You answer how you see fit. What type of individual?
Well, sales reps need a lot of help, because in business owners too, I'm going to clump you all together. And this is just going into what you were just talking about with the social selling. They think that the DM is the place to sell, right? So they're going to send me an automated pitch as soon as we connect, assuming I connect. They're going to send me more. And they don't think they think life is in a vacuum. And you got what I was joking about before. You got to get out of that, because anything you're sending me that comes, let's call it out of the box or out of the kit, straight from the package, however you want to say it, these pre-written messages, it's not that they're bad, although some of them are pretty freaking bad. Actually, it's intellectually laziness to use them. However, the problem is I'm going to get them over and over and over. Just like you said, what program are you using, Ira, to transcribe your audio? Otter AI, right? Well, so is everybody else. Because if you ask that question, everybody's going to tell you the same thing. So when you're using your automated service so that you can expand your reach, well, guess what? A lot of other people are using that same service, and so they have the same out of the box. So the biggest thing that I would love to tell people when you say who needs the most help, I would love to tell people you can actually sell in your posts and rapport build in your DMs or emails, and you will get so much farther, so much faster.
Oh my God. Yes.
Here's what I mean. Go look at my post from last night. I put up a cartoon post. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to pull it up, because this is something new that I'm doing. These little doodly videos. I just started with these things. Have you seen these yet?
Well, I know what doodly is, if you're using the.
Yeah. So check this out. I just made this last night. Well, it starts out with my animation, right? I've got my top and bottom screens, and then I come through and I'm just running it through. This is only 2 minutes. It's 1 minute and 54 seconds. But this is basically just an overview. We also offer video capture and edit. It's an overview of my services, okay? 1 minute 54 seconds. That's a post. It's a video and it's a post on all my social media channels. And then everybody who's interested in those types of things can go, oh, I didn't know Ira did that. I can talk to him. And there you go. Now, I'm not being invasive. I'm not being spammy. You've chosen to consume my post.
That's interesting because I just published a pitch deck on my page. I'm trying to figure out how to get it on the company page. That'll be for this afternoon or tomorrow or whatever. But where it's really just an overview of our services, because a lot of time I get the same questions over and over again. So why not create a piece of content that answers those questions, and then you can focus on something else.
Well, and I did my drone one, right? I got the drone. I'm doing drone video and photo capture if people need when I'm doing event recording. So cool. I put that up there. Those are posts for me. That's where I think, to get back to the question, the sales folks, I don't care if it's a founder sales person or just a sales professional who's out there trying to sell their company. They need help understanding that social selling, let's just get to it. Social selling is done in the posts, and the DMs and the comments are about rapport building.
Yes.
It's like I would
absolutely
train them to 100% flip their strategy over, because they're trying to pretend like they're not trying to sell you anything, but then they wear you out with spam. And that's how I see it. It's spam. I had a guy who sent me a DM and called me and emailed me this morning, all with his pitch. And guess what happened? He's blocked.
Click. Yeah.
Blocked. Click. Because I'm not here. I didn't open my business just to be your customer. You know what I mean? Now, Joanne Gore, because you and I are friends, if I need help with something and I know you do it, you don't have to pitch me. Guess what? I'm going to just reach out to you and go.
But how did we meet, Ira?
I think you and I met as part of the print thing from David, right?
Right. And where was that?
That was on social media, on LinkedIn.
There you go.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So we met, we got to become friends. We did some of the networking stuff that I do together, the group. So we got to know each other better. And now, like, here you are on my show. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, if you will stop looking at people as prospects, start looking at them as people, just get to know them, let them get to know you. You like each other. Now you don't have to sell me nothing, because now I'm your friend. I want to learn what you do. And then if I see how it applies to me, there's a natural bridge. I'm just going to walk through that door and become a customer. And if not, guess what? I might have friends. I know it's crazy.
You never know who.
I have friends who need
people know,
right? Who need what you do.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's anyways. Okay. So
no, I agree. Like a bajillion. Like where you're like talking to
the people. You and I are very similar. So like I lost my.
Here's how I put it. Sorry, I interrupted. I do that.
No, it's good.
I was going to say, here's how I have two different ways of describing it. But imagine it's not COVID and you're at a big trade show. I think most people here can imagine what it's like to be at a big trade show. And then there's the networking welcome cocktail reception, right? So you walk in there and
people do that wrong too, Joanne.
Sorry? What?
People are doing that wrong too.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Okay, I'm going to paint a picture for you. You see a guy, he's 24 years old. You can tell he's 24-year-old because he's still got zits all over his face. He's sweating profusely. He's got a stack of cards that are this thick, and he is running from table to table going, bam, 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 can I get your card? And he goes to the next one, bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in my early 20s, and I did the same crap. So I'm making fun of myself here. But then what happened is, like, I learned, you know what? If I do this just a little bit different, and just try to make 3 or 4 friends that at the end of the night, I could tell you everything about them. I could tell you if they're married. I could tell you where they went to college. I could tell you if they're kids, where they would bucket list vacation, that kind of stuff. Now, imagine the two scenarios. You got the one guy who's running around, bam, 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 bam. He got every single card in the room. He put it in his CRM. He can spam them till his heart's content, because that's what that guy's going to do with that, right? Or you got the other person who's a little bit wiser, in my opinion, who does the 3 or 4 contacts. And when people see that, they know who that is. They recognize the name. And they go, that guy made me feel really good because he asked me about myself a lot. He knows everything about that guy makes me feel I'm going to take that call. You know what I mean? Like, paint the scenario as a sales rep. Which would you rather be in? People are thinking about this all wrong. Anyways.
Well, it's like I said, you're in this networking thing. You see somebody, you're going to go up to them, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Joanne. You're going to, hi, my name is Ira. Nice to meet you, Ira. Can I interest you in a demo?
Right. Would you like to buy my product?
But that's what everybody does.
So or, hey, I know that your company, we've been helping companies like you to increase their margins by 3,000% in the next 3 days. It's risk-free. Just sign here. Mm-hmm. Now, that's right after you said, my name is Joanne.
Yeah. So one of the ways that I'm, you know, or you could say, you know, you walk into a bar and you're scanning the room and you make eye contact with somebody.
That's scary.
So that initial eye contact, what does that look like on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Well, that's when you go and check up somebody's profile and you get notified, hey, Joanne checked out my profile. That's making eye contact.
I want to tease a show that I do on Fridays with my wife. It's called 8 is Enough.
Uh-oh.
I'm not kidding. We have 8 kids, so I wanted 9. My wife, I made a hashtag strive for 9. My wife retorted with 8 is enough from the show.
I love it.
We know that we know that was a show. That's why we did it. But they didn't have a hashtag and they had spaces anyways. It's good. Okay, so I met my wife at a bar.
Oh, there you go.
The very first thing she said to me was, "That's a little bit chauvinistic, isn't it?" We're going to be telling that story. I think this week. Anyway, if you want to see that, that's Fridays at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern.
I will definitely check that out.
8 is enough. Anyways, okay.
I love it. But continue. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, so you make eye contact, right? So if you're in the bar scenario, you make contact, you go up, usually you're like, depending on how cool you are, the conversation can go any number of ways. But by the time when you straddle up and meet them, you don't go, hey, let's get out of here. It's not the first thing out of your mouth, hopefully. That's, to me, the equivalent of asking
for
a demo.
You might be at a different kind of bar.
Well, swinger, yeah. Well, as I did preface it by saying it depends on who you are, but the majority of people would not do that. It would be more like, well, I want to get to know you a little better. So number 2. So number 1, you've looked at their profile, you've made eye contact. Number 2, you've taken the time. So let's say this is a prospect you're interested in pursuing. You go to their page, you find a blog, you find a post, you find something that matters to them that they have written about or commented on. And now you go and add a comment and make it relevant and you know, empathize or add value to that. Mm-hmm. Now they're notified about that too. So now you're kind of in their orbit.
This works.
So by the time you ask for that connection request, you're already somewhere in their brain where they're not going to go like, who the heck is this person?
Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, all of them. This works on TikTok. Might be the only one that's a little bit different, but I'm not a TikToker. I'm on it because Gary Vee told me to get on it. Oh. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
I'm scared. I haven't gone on it yet. I'm scared. Well, I'm worried I'll go down. I'll never.
What I find is there's lanes, right? So there's an algorithm there too. They're showing me stuff that they think I'm going to be interested in. That's going to be different than what you're interested in. But there are lanes. There are some people that are doing some really good marketing type videos. Mm-hmm. I don't have the time. That's not my skill set. Right? What those are good. So you know, I'm still working on formulating a strategy that will work. But the fact is, what you're saying is show interest, and again, to summarize it, but just boil it down to a basic element: treat people like you would if you were meeting them in person, because it's just an extension to meet people from further away, right? At the core, we buy from people. We don't buy from companies. We buy from people. So
that's why now there's this whole shift on the company page versus the personal page. Yes, it's important to have a company page. It shows credibility. There's a bunch of content and information that you could share from a company level, but your personal page, even when you're sharing company information, it's your opportunity to make it personal and human and relevant to the people you are interested in having in your orbit or in your lane.
When did you jump on LinkedIn? Do you remember?
Oh, the first time I joined LinkedIn was when I was working for that incubator. I can picture myself at my desk.
So you were there really, really early.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah. So I came in in 2009. I was a little bit late to the party as far as that goes,
but I remember from 2009 to 2017, it was a PR place, right?
Mhm.
So it was company first. Like people really didn't care much about you, the individual. It was you were representing your company.
Well, you were there to get a job.
Yeah, or you were there to get a job, right? So it was two lanes. The people looking for work, the people looking for employees, that was one lane, and then companies doing press releases, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are still on the company pages are still trying to do that. And I actually, with my clients, am telling them, no, we're going to do a lot of stuff that's entertainment and build rapport like we would if it was Joanne's page. So Joanne Gore Communications and Joanne, if I was running your pages, right, your business and your personal page, I don't run people's personal pages, by the way. I only run business pages.
Me too.
But because I become an admin on their page, right? So, but when I'm doing that, like I put in polls, I put up photos, I do like the company barbecue or whatever. I mean, we're not doing a lot of that stuff.
Well, that's the thing. But that's what people love. I can tell you, if you do employee spotlights,
yeah,
if you anything to do with the people that work in your company,
right.
If you could do customer spotlights, vendor spotlights, people,
they love it.
People don't even think about reaching out to their vendor and partner network. That's a whole glut of content.
Yep.
They would love to work with you to share all this stuff because it just
100%.
means business for everybody.
100%.
So there's so many.
And guess what? If you are on the rocks with a vendor or they're shopping you and then all of a sudden you start helping them build their brand on social media, guess what?
That word again.
You've just given them value. The value prop has just changed from whatever just product and service that you're delivering or you're buying. You know what I mean? Because it's a two-way street there. You've given them something different. Like I have clients who are my friends. That relationship, the friend relationships helps me when a competitor comes in and tries to swoop them out from under me. It's like, hey, I just want to let you know I was contacted by so-and-so and they're offering this. And, you know, one of the times the service was a lot cheaper than what I was offering. But then because I was his friend, instead of just going for it, he reached out to me and then I was able to walk him through the value prop and go, well, I understand you can always get something cheaper, but let's look at what you get for the money. And then we just went through it and go, see, this is why it's so much less. It's a different.
Can't sell on price anymore.
No, it's just a different orbit. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking at like, what are you going to get for this, you know, $50 and just stack it up against what someone else is going to give you for the $50. Well, you know,
what's it going to cost you in the end?
And you could say, okay, so like SEO services or social media management or photography session or whatever. And you go, well, okay, they're going to charge me $30 at Costco to do my headshot. Mm-hmm. Will that work? Yeah, you'll get a headshot for $30. But if you pay me $250, what am I going to do for that? Well, I'm going to come out and I'm going to do an hour session with you and I'm going to take hundreds of shots. Then I'm going to come back to my studio and I'm going to digitally master probably 10 to 12 of them. Yeah. And I'm going to give you those. So instead of just giving you one, take it or leave it, you're going to have a suite of them. And then if you come back to me later and say, hey, you know, I need a new LinkedIn cover photo. Can you work with me on that? I'm like, well, I've got all these pictures to choose from in my computer that I can say, yeah, you know what? I've got some ideas where we can do like different shots and do some, you know, opacity.
You're repurposing the original content.
Right.
Even though it happens to be photography.
Go back to the Costco the next day and say, you know what? I really like this. Could you guys help me digitally change the color of my suit from brown to blue or neon pink? I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff. So that's,
sure.
Again, it's just what you get for your money is different. Now, sometimes the $30 solution is the right solution. And I'm not trying to discount that at all. I'm just saying that, you know, in the grand scheme of things,
you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand the value prop, right? The value proposition. That's what I mean by prop. For those of you who don't speak the
lingo. I knew what
abbreviations, right? Like
wait till we start getting into print acronyms. That'll scare
I was saying PR. I was saying PR the other day, and somebody goes, "What's PR?" And I'm like, "Press release," and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were talking about public relations." And I'm like, "Well, I could see that, but
that's sort of the same." But yeah. So, what's the one acronym that you are asked to explain the most?
You know, I don't know. I mean, there's so many of them, honestly. I hate acronyms just for that reason. Because I did all the marketing and business classes, there's a lot of those, right? Like EBITDA.
EBITDA, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, the one that I take for granted that everybody knows, and even when I explain the acronym, they still don't even understand what it means, is the CTA, which is the call to action, which
Yeah,
is
I was gonna say,
basically, what do you want them to do?
Right. So your CTA, look, everything that you do, the CTA is so important because without it, they're like, okay, now what?
They
And
don't know what to do. So when people say, oh, we ran this program and we got no leads, because again, the biggest thing is we need more leads, right?
Right.
Well,
leads.
first of all, do you even know what a lead is?
Give me the good leads.
Give me the good leads. Well, how, if here's my answer to that. I'm going to give you 10 leads tomorrow. How are you going to choose the top 3?
Right. Right.
Because when you can figure out how you're going to choose the top 3, then you can start to pinpoint
and map out what the action plan. Okay, now that we have the leads, what are we going to do with them?
Right.
You know, what's the first touch? What's the second touch? What's the third touch? And
right.
if they respond anywhere along the way, you know, you have a branch for the yeses and the nos and maybe laters and all that
and
stuff.
And the follow-ups and, or, you know, rank them. Are they marketing qualified? There's the whole shebang. But again, it all boils down to knowing what that is.
No doubt.
You just need to know what that is. And there's just, I lost my train of thought because I did have a point and I have no idea what it was anymore.
You're talking about acronyms. What's the most?
Oh, CTA, call to action. So, you know, again, people complain, oh, you know, didn't generate any leads. Okay, well, what was the program? Oh, we ran this direct mail. Great. So what did you ask them to do?
Yeah, nothing.
What do you mean? Well, if you don't ask them, even on LinkedIn, if you can create the best post, but if you don't remind people to like or comment or follow or share or whatever,
tag your friends in the comments.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Because
so
you just have to remind people, this is what I want you to do, but this is why you want to do it.
People, for posts, for websites, for marketing campaigns, for all of it, it all works the same. I tell people all the time, you can have the world's best functioning, most interesting website in the world, but if you don't have a prescribed call to action that's easy to understand, your traffic is irrelevant.
If you don't have a landing page, how many websites?
Here's your Google ad with no landing page, right?
No landing page. It just goes to the home page, and then they want to know why they spent all this money on AdWords, but they didn't get anything out of it.
Right.
So here's a couple things that's happening now, percolating in the marketing world. So these are a couple of little things that
okay. I've had newsflash sound up. I have that sound, but I don't have it up. But newsflash, breaking news.
So I'm going to say something, and I'm going to say you're probably going to roll your eyes, but I'm telling you, this is going to be the dream this year. One of the many things that are going to happen is QR codes.
Yeah, no, I know. They're making a strong comeback.
So what I'm saying is, for a lot of companies, we all know that print enhances the customer journey. It adds value. People who receive information in print tend to remember it longer. That whole thing about touch triggers memories in the brain. There's been studies around it. There's no dispute, no question. But for direct mail, a lot of people still are scared of it. They're scared of the cost. They're scared of what's involved. They're scared, they picture an envelope and a thing and a that, and it's too much for them. So I'm like, okay, make it simple. If you have that landing page, you're creating a campaign that is being supported by email, that hopefully is being supported by social, and you produce a postcard with a QR code that goes back to that landing page, and you mail it. When they get to this, I don't know about you guys, we don't have mail delivered to our door. You have to go to a common box.
You go to a box now. Mm-hmm.
So you go, you get your mail, you get the postcard, like, oh, this is cool. Oh, there's a QR code. If I scan it, I'm going to watch this really cool video or whatever. I'm going to scan it now with my phone right at the post box.
So
cool. And I don't care if they throw the postcard away, because they've already done what I wanted them to do.
Check this out. Talking about direct mail. Okay. One of my clients is Voice Express. Have you heard of them?
No.
So Voice Express is the company that made the sound inside the Build-A-Bear teddy bears.
Oh, right. You told me about that. Yes.
So they do all kinds of different AI voice stuff, But for direct mail, I'm going to sell 1 million of these things. And Joanne, if you need somebody who needs this, we can work this out, right? So any print shops out there, if you see this and you want information, I will get you an appointment with Jeffrey Stern, who's the CEO of this company, Voice Express. But check this out. It's a mailer. This weighs under 4 ounces, okay? And shipping, nice, easy. Push a button. It starts talking to you. Push it, it stops. Here's a different button. Says something different. Okay. What this is, it's a brochure that they printed, but in this, they can record more information and then ship that out.
Is there a QR code on it?
There's not on this one. I wish there was printed.
See, that's the only thing I would have wanted.
There easily could be, right? It's not on this one. So this one, what they did, they didn't actually do this one for direct mail. What they did, this was for the people that go and sell to medical offices, right? That they're selling to doctors' offices and stuff. Okay. So when they couldn't get an appointment with the doctor, they can still give them all the information and then they can consume it. So they're like, okay, well, you can pray. You're in your car, so listening to the radio, you push the button, it'll tell you all about this stuff. You know, that was the idea. Or maybe they're on the bathroom. But what's cool about this is no Wi-Fi needed. The information's all there. No screen. We've all seen these, right? The video players. You know, I remember when these came out, we all thought, oh, man, I'm going to sell billions of these things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're like $60 a piece. You know what I mean? And then to ship them, this is 10 ounces, you know, and it doesn't fit in standard mail envelopes. So you've got to spend an arm and a leg in postage too. Like this, you can ship USPS. And in this, you've got it. Well, you can ship it USPS, but you're going to pay a lot more, right? So, but this has a video player in it. But what you're talking about, this, now you've got sound to get them. And then imagine just one of the things at the end says, okay, for more information, click the QR code on the back. You know what I mean?
Take that a step further. And again, I keep trying to bring us back to so many of the conversations we started, and I can't believe I actually even remember it. But if you think about the life of the lowly salesperson whose trade shows have been taken away from them and their access to all these supposedly awesome leads that they would have gotten at the trade show booth.
A fishbowl. In exchange for the $50 gift card, you get a chance to win this $50 gift card if you put your card here where I can.
Exactly. So now imagine, so there's all these virtual shows going on. So the companies that previously exhibited at these shows are actually saving a lot of money in travel and equipment and hotel, all of it.
Yeah.
So imagine, and if you're exhibiting at a show, virtual or otherwise, you are given the list of the attendees. So if you know, going back to, you know, I give you 10 leads, you pick your top 3. If you're going to the show and you know who your top 20, 25, 30, 10, whatever, pick your magic number, who, if you could have a conversation with these people and at the show for 5 or 10 minutes, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Well, now you can send them a really cool package that has maybe a ball cap or your lanyard, something branded that, one, they're going to remember your company.
Yep.
2, think about the screen space right here of everybody on Zoom. Your sign, your mug,
right?
Whatever's on your neck, whatever's on your back, whatever's on your head, whatever pen you pick up.
Not much at the moment.
Well, you can put a tattoo on your head. I want to see your logo on your head. Look, I got a Kleenex box here. Imagine a wrapper to go around Kleenex boxes that's branded.
Yeah,
boom, it's right there.
Well, everybody's
there. So now
if somebody was really smart, you'll never see me without this thing. If somebody was really smart, they'd send me one of these with their logo on it because I'd probably use it.
What does mine say?
Right, print.
It's my favorite. I got it from the Association for Print Technologies.
No, I 100% agree with you.
It goes back to brand. Because right now, only differentiator.
Cautionary tale here. Make sure that you're matching that up with your avatar's mentality. Because if you're dealing with CEOs, they're likely not to want to use your branded stuff. But so you just have to keep in mind who you're calling on and to make sure you're buying something that they will actually.
Or something they'll give to their kids.
Yeah.
No, you want to get to a CEO, go through their kids.
Yeah, like I used to love the pens, but then I realized the pens were the wrong thing, right? And then for a long time, I went to mouse pads because I'm like, if I just want to be on their desk. But then I thought, calendars, something. Now, if I was doing something right now and I could swing it, I can't because, again, my business is not as excitingly, awesomely, I don't know. I don't have enough customers yet. But one day, something like this would be super cool. What is this?
You can't see. That's like a phone holder, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a charger.
Oh.
So what happens is instead of plugging in my phone to the cord, I just set it on here and it charges it up. Well,
I have one of those, except it doesn't work if you have a case on your phone.
Well, this one works with the case, which is nice.
Really?
Yeah. So
Very cool.
I'll give them props. It's Anchor. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Anchor. Oh yeah, of course.
So, anyways, and my wife got that for me as a gift. But
cool.
You know what I mean? Like if you're doing something like that, now that might be $30 or $40 a piece. But you know what? If you're doing 10 of them a month, and those are key prospects, like you're saying, your top.
What's your sale worth? If you're selling software, for example.
Everybody has a marketing budget. You know what I mean?
Everybody. Figure out where you were going to spend it and how to redeploy it so that your brand is front and center everywhere. So I would argue mouse pads would not be the where to go today because nobody's going to see your desk. But the pen, I'm on calls all the time. I'm taking notes. There's almost always a pen in my hand or I
like the coffee cup.
Or I'm advertising Tim Hortons. Like 9 times out of 10, that's in my hand. Plus whatever you see.
There's 2 things that have become my trademark unofficially: my white glasses and my black coffee cup. I'm always, I'm thinking about getting Bowman Digital Meter sticker and just slapping that bad boy on there. You know what I mean?
I'm only waiting for some promo brand to sponsor me. Are you kidding me? I'll be all over this.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I was just on a Clubhouse about that particular topic, and I thought that's really genius. I had something happen to me. It was cool, but I was testing out this whole thing. So I joined SocialTap. SocialTap's new. And anyway, so I had the CEO of SocialTap on an interview on Friday.
Oh, cool.
So, and Harold Hasselback, he played NFL football for 11 years. He played for a team I hate for 8, which is the Denver Broncos. Couldn't stand it. In fact, I told him within like 3 minutes of being on the show, we're going to have to end it right here because I found that out. Nice talking to you there, buddy. But anyways, you know what happened at the end of that? Because I promoted their show basically for an hour. I mean, it wasn't a big commercial, but, we were talking about the show and we were talking about the service and all that stuff. They became a Bowman Digital Media sponsor.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay. And the thing is, I was enthusiastic about the product. So I found out it's very similar to Linktree. If you guys are familiar with Linktree.
Yes, I just started using Linktree. I think it's pretty cool.
The thing that I like about SocialTap more than Linktree, honestly, is the free version is pretty.
So yeah, that is a problem with Linktree.
Linktree's free version, which is what I use, and I know people pay for it, but I'm like, I'm just basically using it for backlinks and make it easy to find me everywhere, right? Well, SocialTap does exactly the same thing, but it gave me 8 different choices on the free plan to beautify not only my stuff, but their stuff. Like you have logo options for the social media logos, right? Mm-hmm. And also I could have an active backlink to my website in a premium position, right?
Oh,
so I have
cool.
Photo and then, Bowman Digital Media, and then here's all my social media stuff, unlimited links, socials, all that stuff. Awesome. So I'm like, I was excited to have them on because I'm like, people need to know about this. They don't understand the power of it, but trust me, you want to have one that's free. They have a premium service that's $6 a month. $6. It's not like you got to buy a year in advance or 3 years in advance and all that stuff. It's a month to month. It's legitimately only $6. Well, guess what you can do with that, Joanne? You can have.
What can you do with it, Ira?
E-commerce. You're selling books, courses, anything like that for $6 a month. You don't have to create your own website. You don't have to pay some crazy service. They have to pay before they have access to the link. You can put up your PDFs. You can put up your videos. You can put up all that stuff. You also get stats. So you want to, we're marketing folks. We like data. Give them more data. Data's the gold.
You cannot have enough data.
All of that stuff for $6 a month. You can't buy a GoDaddy site. You can't buy a website. You can't do any of that stuff. And you don't have to do any of the troubleshooting, supporting, updating the themes, updating the plugins, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do any of that. You know what I mean?
Sounds very
So
cool.
anyway,
I will
when I
have to
saw
check
it,
it
I
out.
was like, that's something people need to know about. Again, it's pretty, it's very functional. So, but sponsorships, that's the reason why, you know, it's like, yeah, that's the reason I brought it up, because I was not trying for that. I was just fascinated by the product. Want to let people know. And I do these, the interviews are called Industry Interviews by Ira. It's I to the third power.
I was going to say triple I.
Yeah. I to the third power. So that's
close,
the name.
I was close.
Right. That's the name of the show. And, you know, I do like CEOs and C-levels. I've got the director of operations for Buc-ee's coming on tomorrow.
Ooh.
You know,
and is that also live or is it?
So I do them live. The thing that's different about that one is it's not a regularly scheduled, you know what I mean? Because I like this one, I'm doing 2 relatively close together, but I might go 3 weeks without an interview. You know what I mean? It's just one of the people that I'm trying to reach out to aren't sitting there going, hey, yeah, I'm available every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's like, I got to do it when they're available. So, but it's a lot of fun. Anyways, sponsorships.
Yeah.
If you are passionate consumer of a product, reach out to them and say, hey, everybody in the world knows I'm a Raider fan. Hello, Las Vegas Raiders. I would love to have you sponsor me. And frankly, I've reached out to them and said, I'll run your social media on LinkedIn for free, because whoever's doing it's not doing a very good job. No. They're much better on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, on Facebook and Instagram. They do a great job, but on LinkedIn, they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like,
so let me ask you a question.
Page. Yeah.
This is also has become somewhat controversial recently. From a B2B perspective, Facebook, what's the value of Facebook from a B2B perspective?
You have to be careful with Facebook a little bit, because just like every time you have a microphone, you can do harm or you can do good. I use Facebook for my personal business and for my client's business, and we're getting business out of it. I'm not doing Facebook ads. A lot of people tell you just Facebook ads, Facebook ads, Facebook ads. And I'll tell you, that's going to eat your budget unless you're a major company. That's really, really expensive. Not saying it's not worth it. Not saying there's not a good value prop. I'm just saying that's one you got to really be committed to if you're going to go that route.
You really need to know who you help. You really need to know who your ideal lead is.
You gotta drill it down.
And if you can pinpoint a specific geography, then you can make the most out of your bang for your buck.
You don't waste your shots because you're paying per click, right? It's just like Google ads and everything
else. AdWords. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's all auction based. If you guys have not paid, been in that pay to play space, it's all auctions. Everywhere is auctions, right? So, and negative words or zones that you isolate out or remove help you from having wasted clicks. Then the other thing is figuring out who your competitors are and trying to keep them from clicking on your stuff too, because they'll
just jam it up just to
they'll eat your budget just to waste your budget. Anyways, but
don't tell anybody our secret.
Facebook for me, honestly, is probably my personal worst platform. But here's how I use it. I use it to present the posts and the information, and then I try to do the same thing that I'm doing everywhere else with the comments. Get in the comments and actually engage people, because it's not a PR. If you just set it and forget it, that's not what people are on social media for.
No.
So to build brand loyalty, you have to engage. And what my wife has done really successfully until recently is groups. Now,
that's what I was going for.
Now, guess what's if you want to talk about emerging trends, the struggle right now, everybody's getting censored. You're getting blocked. My wife can't make a post or a comment or anything in groups.
I can't do any of it.
She can't do any of it. So here she did this really great.
Piss off.
I don't know, but she's in like 50 groups. You know what I mean? And she cannot make comments. She can't post. So here's the thing. If your whole lifeblood, and this is one of the reasons why I tell people that diversify. If her whole lifeblood was Facebook, which a big part of her business is, she's dead in the water.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So by building, and this is why I started to diverge, because honestly, I'm way bigger on LinkedIn than I am on any other platforms, right? 7,000 on YouTube. I'm 7,000 on Instagram. I think I'm like 3,000 on Twitter, 3,000 on Pinterest. You know what I mean? You get the idea? Like you add them all up.
Yeah.
I have
but you're not an influencer by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but I have over 3,000. I have over 300,000 followers on all of social media, but about 250,000 of them are on LinkedIn between my person and my.
Crazy.
But the thing is, the reason why I spread out, like, what happens if LinkedIn disappears?
Yeah.
Or what happens?
And it could at any point in time.
Or they
that's the other thing, and they can take your data with them. It's not
that's what I'm saying. Or they delete me. Well, here's an interesting thing, right? I have 200,000 personal followers on LinkedIn, but I can only download the data. And we already said data is gold. I can only download data on the 30,000 that are first level connections. There's no way to download the data on the 200,000. That would be much more valuable to me. I would pay more. And LinkedIn, if you're watching, I'd gladly make you a deal where I'll pay you money for that data. You know what I mean? But there is no way to do that. But I do download my data just in case something happens and they restore my account. That's why they let you do that, right? So anyways.
Yeah, so that's another tip. On a regular basis, I say, like, change your clocks at minimum. You're changing your clocks twice a year.
Your smoke detector battery.
You're changing your smoke detector battery. You're backing up your computers, and you're backing up all your social profiles. At the very least.
I want to throw one more in there. Get your teeth cleaned.
Oh, well, yeah.
Go to the dentist, people. Take care of them. Take care of them chiclets. Anyway,
I agree.
All right, so let's do this. We're going to start to wrap this up a little bit.
It's been awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, we could do 2 shows. Easily.
Oh my God, there's still so much that
we haven't even started. We haven't talked about SMS marketing. I mean,
nothing.
Okay. I do want to ask you one thing before we start wrapping it up. Emails or texts? You only get to pick one for outreach. Go.
I say, how does my client like to communicate? How does my prospect like to communicate?
Yeah.
It's not about what I like.
That is the right answer.
I like texts.
I want people to hear that. So many people, like, for years, they had their cell phone numbers on the cards, and people thought, well, you can't text them. That's private. I'm like, no, it's on their business card. If you publicize your cell phone number, then you're saying to people, you can contact me this way.
Yeah, however you want.
It's like when I call somebody on the phone and they say, do you have an appointment? And I go, like, well, no, I'm calling for one. That's why I'm calling.
Yeah.
They're like, well, why did you call me? I'm like, because you give me your business card, and guess what? Your direct dial number is right on it. It's like, I'm not being who's this famous detective? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes.
Am I dating myself?
Right. Well, yeah. I was going with one even older, Sherlock Holmes. You don't have to be Columbo to find.
How many people don't even put it on their LinkedIn profile? Oh my God, on their signatures. Do you know how many times if I want to follow up with somebody quickly, and I'll just go to an email to find their phone number,
and it's not there,
and it's not there.
I want to say it's 8 out of 10.
And then I have to go to their LinkedIn profile, and it's not there. So then I have to go to the company page and try and find. It is awful. People, put your phone, put your contact. If you want people to connect with you, put the information out there.
You're in business, right? Come on.
Exactly. Oh my God. It's like, so everybody, a lot of people who know me, and it's funny because COVID has changed this a lot. I do not like the phone. I don't know why. To me, being on the phone, it's bothersome to me. It has to be a planned phone call. People just calling me out of the blue, my ADD.
Zara,
I don't like it.
She's about to be
better at it.
She's going to become my best friend here because she's asking me for my YouTube. So I have to be 100% honest. I am always, well, not always, but I try to be pretty transparent. That's why I share my warts a lot. I love YouTube. I can tell you that. Like, I love it. Why do I love it? Because obviously, and you and I are alike. We graphic design, we make stuff, and I do, like I said, I do a video a day. Every day I make at least one video. Yeah. I don't always publish them because some of the stuff I do is obviously client work. And I do stuff for my church, which I don't always publish that. But I love YouTube. So Zara, kind of like what Joanne was saying earlier, though. Again, remember, my goal on YouTube is not to monetize. Now, in full disclosure, I actually meet the criterion. I could turn the ads on, but I don't, because that's not what I want, right? So, for your channel advice, don't necessarily do everything I do, but I do want you to go into my videos and see how I have all my links in there. See how I have like the intros and the outros and the music, and you'll see a lot of stuff I'm doing. I would coach you on, just not every single thing. And in a call, I could clarify. But there you go. The links are there for you if you want. That's my channel link. And thank you.
It all boils down to, what are your goals?
Yeah.
Right? What are you trying to achieve? It's like, it's you know, sometimes you just have to go back to the basics, like a trade show. I'll use that as an example because most people can associate with what a trade show is, no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
You're going to a trade show. Before you go, how are you going to measure success? Whatever you do, whether it's a trade show, whether it's a blog, whether it's a pay-per-click campaign, whatever you're doing, how will you measure its success? Because until you know how you're going to measure its success, you can never truly be successful, because it's going to flip-flop that was a lousy show. Why? Well, because we didn't get any good leads. Yeah, but if you look back to why we were going to the show, our objective wasn't to get qualified leads. Our objective was to get media coverage. And we got kick-ass media coverage because we got covered in all of these publications. So if lead generation was your objective, then that should have been the objective from the get-go. You can't change it midstream.
And even let's take that one step further. It's like, okay, so you should have had an action plan in place to make sure that you were getting the type of leads. What did you do? Okay, so
before, during, and after.
Right. So we have a crystal ball ahead of time. We're like, we're going to do this. Here's our plan, and we're going to get leads. Well, you did it. It didn't work. Okay, now lessons learned time. Let's figure out where did it go wrong so that in the future we don't run into that same buzzsaw. You know what I mean? Like, I think the number one thing I want people to think about is not you and what you do, but have your goal in mind. Okay, I want to generate more leads, or I want to get the media coverage, or whatever it is. Possibly could be, right? So here's my goal. But now, who's my audience? What are they interested in? How much time do I going to have? How am I going to be interacting with them? Because that you know what I mean? Like, if it's a YouTube channel, it's going to be virtual, it's going to be digital, versus a trade show that's in person. I'm going to be face to face with them. Maybe I don't want to use a QR code, or maybe I do want to incorporate the QR code because I got the phone. I'm going to get them for 10 seconds. There's no way I can say all this in 10 seconds, but if I can get them to scan that QR code, they can take it with them and consume it later. You know what I mean? All these different things. You got to plan it all out. But the thing it seems like a lot of people don't do, and I see this on social media, websites across the board, with marketing efforts across the board, direct mail campaigns too. You said it, the CTA. What is it that you're trying to get them to do? And who is it that you're trying to get to do it? Because you need to consider the POV, another acronym, point of view, their point of view, right? Sit on the other side of the table for a second and go, if I was my target market audience, this is my mindset. This is what I'm here for. Because what are they even coming to the trade show for? Let's say you're trying to get leads, and they're trying to find a job.
Yeah.
Are you even at the right show?
Yeah. I wrote about that too. It's one of my blogs. It's how to create a successful event plan, which is basically how to figure out why you're going to be there and how you're going to measure
start reading your blog.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I'm gonna get
Who do you help? How do you help? Why does it matter? I just keep saying it over and over and over and over again. And that's really going to be what differentiates one company from the next these days. That and your brand. You got to get people to there you go. Maximizing trade show, how to create a successful event strategy. A lot of these, of course, were all pre-COVID.
Yeah. Well, this one's great right now, facing the reality of virtual events, which is how to convert more prospects into sales. Who doesn't need to know how to do that? There's about 665 million people on LinkedIn that need this help. Some of them already got it down, but a lot of them have. It's just lazy selling, guys, right? If you're using something straight out of the box and you're using generic stuff, trust me, you're not getting.
If your website says something like, we offer the best customer service, no job is too big or too small, we're open 24/7, your success is our success. I'm like, okay, great. So tell me something I don't know or don't expect. Tell me
or that
how
I'll actually,
you're
or actually
different.
I'll believe, because if you're speaking only in hyperboles, I don't believe you. Be
There you go.
specific. That's why I like case studies so much.
Yes.
Testimonials,
Case studies,
the value of those are great.
success stats, all of it.
Why are they so great? They're great because somebody else is saying it about you. My favorite thing about your website, honestly, on the homepage was down at the bottom was, you've got 10 of them or so, people
The
saying,
testimonials.
yeah, I love it. I did that on my page too. We haven't brought up my page here.
Oh yeah.
I'm
actually coming up with a new thing. I'm going to create an actual sort of document that has the presentations, the testimonials, and it's going to become a piece of featured content.
We talked about,
yeah, taking what you've got and repurposing it into different forms and formats, because where are they consuming content? Yeah, ingredients.
This is one of my actual articles on my blog. Okay. I was repurposing it for SocialTap because SocialTap lets me link to these things. So I was putting it on there. That's why this was up. Okay. But what this is a blog that I wrote. Then I did the video. Guess what I did later? I came in and edited the blog, and I had the stupid video. Not stupid. It's very smart. You should watch it. It's 20 minutes.
I will.
I put that into, the article. And now I've got a circular link, which I know people don't understand SEO and how it really works. But trust me, the power of the circular link is you can't beat it. So inside, if you go onto YouTube and you click on that, down below, it'll give you the link to the blog, right? Well, now I'm in the blog and I've got a link back to the YouTube. So I'm going to get you coming or going. Okay. And I get backlinks. I get 2 backlink credits for that, by the way.
That's awesome.
So, but then guess what I did? I made all kinds of posts out of this, and graphics, by the way, because I have people that, they only are interested in the graphics. So, but look, I have a whole page dedicated to testimonials on Bowman Digital Media. Why? Because I think it's so important to have somebody say what I'm good at, as opposed to me bragging about myself, right?
Yes.
This is one of my customers. We're amazed at how fast we grew our social media business page after hiring Bowman Digital Media to manage our page on LinkedIn. And guess what? You can click on him and you don't have to take my word for it. You can click right here and you can message Jared Bishop he's the director of operations at MBS. Right?
There you go.
Screen Women Business Enterprise screen printing business in South Carolina.
Wow.
Right? So yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Damon, you can click on any of these, and then I put on my homepage, because again, I think it's more important than what I say about myself. So
there's also now
right at the top, I've got my contact 7 form, which is my version of subscribe, because it's the most important thing to me. When you come, I want to talk, you know what I mean? I want that data.
Yeah.
Right. So then I talk about myself and I give examples, because I'm a show me guy. So graphics, here's all kinds of samples of my work. You should choose this. I tell people why, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really happy with that part.
So this is similar to what I just posted, what I said I posted on my website, which is what I call it, like my pitch deck. It's just an overview of the solutions we offer, how we work, what it's like to work with us, how we help people, and why it matters.
Look at this. I've got all kinds of different stuff in here. I've got the stuff for the readers. I've got stuff for the visuals. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to read, here's a description. And then the other thing that I did in here, which this makes me a little bit different than most people. I like this part. I've got a menu where people can not only see what I do, but how much I charge. So there is like,
that's brilliant.
There's no question. So these are my 3 social media packages. That's what I charge businesses per month to manage their social media. And then if you're not a business, or if you don't want one of those, you just want an a la carte service, here's all my a la cartes. Everything that I do, again, it's like, and I try to keep it up. Here's my newest one, right? Drone photography. Somebody asked me, what does it cost for you to come out with your drone? I said it's $250 for the first hour. Well, I get there, I shoot for a half hour, and then I do a half-hour video for you. And that's it, right? Or I take the pictures. And then if you want something more than that, then we talk about it. Yeah. But anyways, it's all there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no question. So you can see what I do. You want samples of, okay, well, here's an actual video that I made, or a logo that I've designed, or whatever. It's all here. Websites, I do websites too. So, if somebody wants a website built, it's all here. But the reason why I do it, it's just like what you're talking about. It's like, let me show you let other people tell you, so I'm not bragging about myself.
Yeah, people are looking for the credibility. That's why when they're going to a company page, I know for me, if I'm checking out a company, the first thing I do is look at the people who work there. Who do I have in common? Who do I know in common? I'm going to look at their About Us page. And then I'm going to go to the LinkedIn profiles of all those people and start connecting with them. That's like within the first 10 minutes. That's what I'm doing.
Remember what I did when I started the show? I said, Joanne, talk about yourself, introduce yourself. And while you do that, I'm going to scroll through your LinkedIn page and we're going to all see your experience. Because what does that do? That lends credibility to everything you say. I give more credence because I look at your experience. And again, for a 27-year-old, it's awesome that you've been doing this for 25 years. So, you know what I mean? That's pretty cool. So the LinkedIn page is certainly important. And the testimonials too, because just because somebody doesn't have 25 years doesn't mean they're not good. But now you start to look at what other people are saying about you. Those testimonials, those case studies,
proof points, case studies, success stats. One of the other things that I did recently, and it's somewhere on my website. I'm embarrassed to say I'm not even really sure where it is right now. But we did so we do monthly reports for all of our clients, right? Here's your report. How did we do last month? And then once a quarter, what we do is we take all that data, there's that word again. And it's one thing to share the stats. It's another thing to explain what they mean. So monthly, we share the stats.
Right.
And once a quarter, we go through it all like, okay, this is what it actually means.
Yeah.
This is why we don't care that maybe there's less traffic going to the website, but they're staying there longer and engaging with more pages. That means we're getting more of the right people.
Lower, or
Right. So every quarter we can take a look at it and then decide, great. So now what's our focus on this coming quarter, and how are we going to use what we've learned past quarter, quarters before, or whatever. And of course, the more cumulative you have, the more you can compare and see patterns and trends, marketers dream, and really strategize and steer that boat in the direction you want it to go, and launch quick start campaigns to test new messages or test new markets. And then if it works, continue to build it out. So there's so many different ways to really figure it out without, blowing the bank and still moving the ship in the right direction. If you know what your goals are, if you know who you help and why it matters.
Well, and this is what I tell people all the time. Why hire Bowman Digital Media? Because you don't have time to figure all this crap out. You're really good at making your printing business, or you're really good at, making shoes, or maybe you're an attorney or an accountant or a business coach or whatever. You don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel here. You keep focusing on what you're good at. You pay somebody like Bowman Digital Media will help you build your audience and all that stuff. Now, I'm going to ask you about Joanne Gore Communications, because I'm not going to make a presumption, but I'm going to ask you a couple different questions. So first question is, who is it that Joanne Gore Communications is really fit to help, right? What's your target market niche for client?
So ideally, software, hardware, manufacturing, or print. Anybody that fits into that category.
Say that one more time. I'm gonna type this up. So it's hardware,
software, hardware, manufacturing, and I'm going to throw in print. Even though print fits in all of those three categories, I'm creating its own category just because of my expertise in it.
And just for everybody's edification, I have dyslexia. If I've misspelled this, I'm really sorry.
And chances are they've got in-house marketing. That's probably 1 to 3 people, probably no more than 3 people. And chances are they are just completely overwhelmed with doing everything that's required. And suddenly something lands on their desk and they don't know, and they just need help. Whether it could be everything from, again, it could be you need help with a social media campaign, or suddenly we're doing a virtual event and we need help with it, or we're doing a launch and we need help with that. So whether it's project-based, or whether we can, JGC can come in and be your outsourced marketing department and, just manage all of your marketing. And then you don't have to worry about it. We just align on your goals and objectives, and we just become a division of your company, or we do projects. Sometimes it's, you know, I have people that just, you know, pay me by, we want 10 hours of your time, and we're going to check in with you once a week, and you're going to, you know, help us figure out what we need to do next. So that's me helping them, but they do.
Yeah, I have a couple clients like that. They have marketing staff. Most of my clients don't have anyone for marketing.
Yeah, like people don't have, especially printers, like they don't have marketing people because they're the worst cobblers of all.
But a lot of them do have, just for everybody's edification, a lot of them do have a graphics person. You know what I mean?
For their clients.
Yeah, for their clients. So they like, if you tell them you need to create, you know, a PNG or, you know, whatever, they can do it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to let them know what to have them create, and they just basically put in a work ticket, and their people can do that. But then you got to take it the rest of the way, put it on their website, put it on social media, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, right? Come up with the plan. And one more thing that I've recognized, and this is another big one, is, and not just for me, for anybody, the way people work today because of COVID is radically different. Before, you had your work hat and you had your home hat, and they were very different. Whether you went to the office or worked from home, it didn't matter. You were either in work mode or you were in home mode. Now it's just kind of all gotten mushed together.
There's no doubt. My kids come in sometimes, they haven't, and I'm surprised because we're almost at 2 hours, which I know I got to get you off in the next 5 minutes, but my kids will come in a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
I'm in a business meeting, and it's like, you know, that used to drive me insane. In fact, it was a big no-no. And now it's like, you know, we all work from home.
Yeah,
so
the dog decides to chase the cat, and
I have 8 kids. You didn't hear, so it's harder for me. And so, you know what I mean. But we don't have dogs and cats. We do have one bunny. But
I used to have.
Anyways, we've talked about who you help, and a little bit even about what you help with. But let's just summarize your specialty. Like, if you had to say, this is our foundational, like, flagship service, right? What is the core service that Joanne Gore's Communications is going to do for the manufacturers, the hardware companies, the software companies, the printing companies? What are you doing?
Help you pinpoint who you help, how you help, and why it matters.
Marketing,
and then create programs based on that will generate awareness, engagement, and growth.
So setting the core. Yeah. The map, marketing map. Okay. Yeah. One last thing I want to ask you about your company before we do our presentation. Company size. Like for Bowman Digital Media, for example, I'm helping people mostly. They're more like startup, bootstrap, entrepreneur. If they're in the millions of dollars of revenue, they're probably not the right fit for me in most cases. Although, do I have some that I help? Yes, usually, to what your point was earlier, where you said you could be the complete outsourced marketing or a specialist. I'm usually a specialist for something that their folks, for example, like Google Words, you know, Google Ads, that kind of thing. So can you talk to us about size? What's the ideal size for you?
Again, any company that has an in-house marketing department of at least one person would be the ideal size. Okay. Chances are, if you are a startup with, you know what, you have to have marketing dollars to invest.
Right.
You have to have
and that's true for me too, by the way, for those of you who are like, I just incorporated yesterday. I got nothing. Well, it costs money.
Right? Yeah. So, you know, usually if you were going to ask me that, I'd say companies starting at around 5 million in revenue and up tend to be the right size. That's not to say I would not work with smaller companies, but they
No. This is your perfect fit. This is your
perfect fit.
What's the upper end for you? Have you found an upper end? Is it 50 million, 100 million?
It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how large the company. There's always somewhere they need help. I've worked, like I said, I've worked with large multinational software companies and small independent engineering firms. That's the gamut right now of our client base.
Here's a fun question, 30-second answer. Most interesting type of company and location they were at that you've worked with so far?
Oh, wow. Most interesting type of company. Oh.
Mine was a legal services firm out of Costa Rica. Like,
Wow.
I was introduced to them by a friend, and they were a client for several months. It was a lot of fun. So, anyways, we've got to go because I got to get you out of here. Only,
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much for joining again. For everybody who didn't see it, Joanne Gore Communications. I've got the link to her website in the chat. I've got her link to LinkedIn in the chat.
Yes. Connect, please.
Yeah, connect with Joanne. I'm going to have this on my website. There's a whole page, Bowman Digital Media, devoted to Marketing Mondays. The video will be there. I'll have the transcript on there. I will send you, Joanne, the links. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Huge hugs.
Yep. Hugs to everybody. All right. I'm going to get the music going. Thanks, Joanne.
All right. Take it easy.